everyone, Donald J. Brower, GardenStateHSWrestling.com Near Fall Podcast. It's been a great week, hectic week. We just finished up states on Saturday, got up all my podcasts for the week, my interviews with all the medalists, all the champions, some second place. Hope you thoroughly enjoyed it. Had to kind of have a decompress. I had to bring my wife down to the cauliflower ear convention, as she calls it. So had to take a couple days to kind of get everything set, but posted up some of my all division teams and some other ones. But before we get into that, which is going to be the main topic of this podcast, we got to thank the man who's been there for us all year, Dan Warnikoff, Champion Athletes. Dan was a guest on the first podcast this season, and he's been one of the best supporters of this site the last few years and going forward. Dan is the man, especially in these trying times when gas is going through the roof. Think of Dan as your cheap gas supplier, but quality gas. He'll give you the meal plans to help you achieve the fuel you need for your bodies, because you have to think about your bodies as a car. Whether you're an athlete, non-athlete, in-state, out-of-state, whatever sport you play, Dan Warnikoff, Champion Athletes, proud sponsor of the GardenStateHSWrestling.com podcast Near Fall, as well as some of our live streams. Thank you, Dan, and check him out at championathletes.com. Now, we talked a little bit about the all-area teams. On the site right now is my All-American, National, Freedom, Colonial, the Liberty, and Independence divisions for the Northwest Jersey Athletic Conference. And for the first time ever, I've actually done, since I'm going to be expanding there a little bit next year, mainly for the most part, I get my first and second team all Skylands. These are my choices. So if you will receive something from your coaches or your athletic director saying you are on X team compared, I make my own choices. The biggest difference between my choice and what the coaches do is the coaches have a lot of honorable mentions for first team, second team. I don't do that. There's 14. You make it. That's how it goes. If you're an honorable mention, or if you've seen yourself somewhere else, that might be why you're on second or third team. And then there's just, head-to-heads, or some guys may beat some guys in the season and then have a great postseason. That'll change some things. So, we'll see about that, but you can check them out on the website now. Now, we talked about this is going to be the reveal of my all-conference team. I'm going to be doing the all-conference team as well as Coach of the Year, Team of the Year, and Wrestler of the Year. So before we get started with the all-conference, let's show who the second and third team are. As you see here, these are the guys who I thought had really great years. And trust me, this is the best of the best in the conference. And you see some guys on there who, had really successful years. So looking at this second, third team, that the creme de la creme had to make the top team. So they did. So we're going to start at 106. And some of these shouldn't be a surprise to people, but there might be one or two. We're going to start at 106. The very first man I'm going to announce, freshman Tyler Hagginson from Mount Olive, 40-6 on the year. First in the Morris County tournament, first in District 8, second in Region 2, fourth in the state at 106. Congratulations, Tyler. A freshman for Mount Olive, who I have absolutely no doubt will be winning titles for the next 3 years, and will most likely be on the list in the future going forward for sites. 113, a man who won the state title last year at 106, finished fifth this year at 113, sophomore Daniel Jones of Del Barton. 26-3, first in the MCT, first in District 9, and first in Region 3. Again, as I said, fifth in the state at 113. Congratulations, Daniel. I promised him at states and his parents I wouldn't make any more Giants jokes, so I'm going to stick to that for this podcast. 120, junior Luke Standage from Roxbury, who finished 33-1, first in the MCT, first in District 7, first in Region 2, second in the state. Was leading that match. He just made a mental error. He just got a takedown, taken down right at the edge line and got held there on his back, couldn't do anything. Great job, nothing to be ashamed of. Awesome match. I know he was devastated afterwards, but I'm sure we'll be talking about Luke winning a state title next year. And he had a great run. So Luke Standage, well-deserved. 126 shouldn't be a surprise to anybody if you watch wrestling. Senior Evan Mugallion from Kinnelon, 44-1, first in the MCT, first in District 4, first in Region 1, first in the States. A 3-time finalist, a 2-time champion. Evan's going to be going on to UPenn. They're getting a great wrestler there. Congratulations, Evan, my 126 all-conference. Now, 132, a junior, Tyler Vasquez, Del Barton, 28-0, first in the MCT, first in District 9, first in Region 3, first in the States. So happy for him. I've known him since he was younger, and for him to go out there and win. Congratulations, Tyler. You get a chance to come back and add another title to the coffers. Another Del Barton wrestler, a freshman, 138, Alessio Parenton from Del Barton, 25-3, first in the MCT, first in District 9, first in Region 3, fourth in the state, and the man I had to mistakenly pick to fall into the third place match in regions and got called out for it. So Wrestling Circle, NJ Wrestling Circle called that. But great young man. Didn't hold it against me. Obviously, you're trying to learn. Follows me on Twitter, so I'm sure he's watching this. Congratulations, Alessio, my 138 pick. Now we hit the 144. A man you've heard me talk about his family before, and I'm very happy he won his senior year. Joe Fungaro, Booton, 36-1. The only loss was in the finals of the MCT in an amazing match with Carlos Zaleski of Del Barton. That's why he was second in the MCT. He was first in District 7, first in Region 2, first in the state. Gave his sister a 2-week lead as the best in the house because she had won second at states a couple weeks ago, and now he comes out and finished first. So congratulations, Joe Fungaro. 150, senior Andrew Trzynski from Del Barton, 32-1, first in the MCT, first in District 9, first in Region 3, first in the states. A 3-time finalist, 2-time champion. Andrew's going to UPenn to continue his career. Congratulations, Andrew. Another one of those great Del Barton wrestlers who has a real good shot at making some noise in the college ranks as well. Now we head to 157. Junior Simon Ruiz from Del Barton, 28-1. He finished first at the MCT, but at 165 because one of their teammates, Vincent Lee, was injured, so they bumped a few wrestlers up, but still finished first there. First at District 9, first at Region 3, first in the States, and he is first man I know to spike his headgear after winning the title. But congratulations, Simon. I know it was a lot of emotions afterwards and getting out there and winning the title. I see in the video, Stoll wasn't too happy, but I think he's okay with it now. But he's got another shot to come back and win it again. 165, a sophomore, Louis Sergio from Del Barton, 31-2. First at the MCT at 175. He was first in District 9, third in Region 3, and fourth in the state. He was also one of my wrestlers of the week, and is just is one of those young men who I think is going to come out of his shell next year. Internally he gets worked up in the wrestling, and I always notice this from sophomore to junior year. Those guys kind of break out as far as their talking and their emotions, and I think that's going to be the year. So he's one I want to keep an eye on because I think he's going to be real dominant the next 2 years, especially for being as unhappy he was finishing fourth. I think he's going to really push it, and I wouldn't be surprised if he's on top of the podium next year. Now, the man he beat in the 175 finals of the MCT, the 175 representative is a senior from Mount Olive, Hunter Perez, 35-10. As I said, second in the MCT, first in District 8, second in Region 2, and eighth in the state. He lost an early match and wrestled back. He showed a lot of heart and dedication. That's kind of what this Mount Olive team was this year, a lot of heart and dedication. And Hunter Perez is my pick at 175. 190, as I said, if you follow wrestling, you don't know who my 190 is, hit yourself in the head with a tack hammer because there's only one guy I'm picking at 190, Brian Soldano from High Point, 38-0. First in the HWS, first in District 1, first in Region 1, first in the state, third straight title. I'll talk a little bit about Brian in a minute. Hopefully that's not foreshadowing, but Brian had a great career, and just, at the end he came off and a lot of people were wondering why. And if you saw my interview, you kind of understand just how much he loves High Point wrestling. Like, there's other kids that like and enjoy wrestling and putting it. he loved High Point Wrestling and still does. So, it's tough, especially, we look at them moving on to other things, but that's a chapter in his life that I think, was very important to him. But Brian Soldano's my 190. Now, my 215, Jack Stoll from Pope John, 19-3. Didn't wrestle in the HWS. He was injured a little early on in the season. Comes back, wins first in District 3, third in Region 1, and wrestles back to finish fifth in the state. Jack Stoll, very solid season. They weren't sure if they were going to get him on when they wanted to. Like I said, he was nursing an injury, but he came on strong, and that's kind of when Pope John, if you look at them, especially, when they won their non-public title, that kind of was one of the catalysts of him coming back and solidifying that lineup up top. So, Jack was a big reason they had such a successful year with Pope John. And the heavyweight, senior Dylan Patcher from Jefferson, 39-3, first in the MCT, first in District 4, third in Region 1. His first loss actually did not come until almost late in the season. If I remember looking at this correct, he lost in the semifinals of Region 1 to Ty Eldred, who he had beaten before in the district. So he almost had an undefeated season and then lost to it in states. But Dylan Patcher is my heavyweight for the all conference team. And those are the guys we have. As we said, you see the list here of all the guys I have named as my all conference team. Now it's time for the big three awards. My team, wrestler, and coach of the year. Now, my wrestler of the year is pretty obvious, given who I just talked about in my all-conference team, but it's Brian Soldano from High Point. His career record, 127-5, 99 pins, a 3-time state champion. Now, I know a lot of people who watch wrestling now are going to understand and appreciate Brian's greatness, but we're talking like 30, 40, 50 years when you look back. Do you realize Brian Soldano got 127 wins, including a COVID-shortened season where they only wrestled 2 regular season matches? 2. The overall greatness of his career, I don't think is going to be appreciated as much as it should. Because Brian, if they had the full season last year, is by far shattering records for wins. You have 5 losses. I mean, it's unbelievable what he would have been. I think he should be recognized as not only one of the best in Sussex County, but High Point is a perennial awesome program, and he's arguably not if the best wrestler to come out of that program. The greatness we're seeing and we saw from him it's not going to be matched. I don't think it'll be matched. I don't think there's anybody you look at and you go, wow. Brian was a consummate winner from day one. And, if you see in the interview we did, the state medalist, the emotion he had of lacing up those shoes for the final time with the High Point singlet and, his coming off the mat, more frustrated that he didn't get the pin he wanted and just to, kind of go out there and ended on a high note. And it almost looked like he lost when he came off the mat. And, I want to give his family a moment because, they were obviously there, and Brian composed himself, came over and talked to us. I'm going to miss covering him on the high school level. Always great with a quote, always, very nice, always very helpful. And Brian's, I could go on and on for hours about Brian Soldano, about how great of a wrestler and great of a kid he is. I mean, the family, both him and his brother PJ, just the family, they'll be missed, Matt's side. I'm sure they'll make appearances, but they'll be missed, being that kind of, linchpin. And I think people will kind of appreciate his greatness as a couple of years go on, and you realize you've kind of taken it for granted, if that makes sense. So congratulations, Brian Soldano, my wrestler of the year. Now we'll go to my team of the year. Big debate over this on who it should be. There was a couple of teams kind of in the running who had really good years. I could have went with a Phillipsburg. I could have went with a Warren Hills. Could have went with a Del Barton. I could have went with a Pope John. But if you win the first ever group championship in your program's history, you get the nod. Congratulations, Mount Olive. 18-2 this year. As I said, their first ever group championship. The only 2 losses they had were Del Barton, who by 20, but they were leading that match about midway through till you hit that murderer's row of Del Barton wrestlers from 126 up, where it's just, they're arguably the best in the country. And they lost to Southern by 1 point in an early season match. That's actually, for a couple polls, what cost them being the top team in the state, which I think is ridiculous, but that's not my choice. But yeah, the Mount Olive Marauders had an amazing historic season. They are my team of the year. And coincidentally, as we go to my coach of the year, I want to make a quick announcement before we talk about that coach of the year. There was a person who was very important to the wrestling site and to me as a friend, somebody who I could talk to wrestling with, or I would see periodically, we would chat about stuff, or I'd go into the Morris Hills room to film my preview videos, and I hear, and he'd point me out the young guys to check out. That was Coach Wayne Schiele, who was head coach at Newark Academy for a long time, and then he was an assistant at Morris Hills. He was an assistant at Recipient. I know he was assistant coach of the year this year. Well, he passed away earlier this year, and with the blessing of his wife and his son, Joey Schiele, who was a great wrestler from Morris Hills, and I had the pleasure of covering. From now on forth, no matter what counties I cover, the GardenStateHSWrestling.com Coach of the Year will be the GardenStateHSWrestling.com Wayne Schiele Memorial Coach of the Year. So it's an honor to honor him in that way. And the first recipient of that award is head coach Sean Smythe from Mount Olive. In his 21st year, as I said, leads the team to an 18-2 record, 336 and 110 in his career. He was the coach of the year for the Coaches Association. And the one thing I like is he navigated the pitfalls of a team that's expected to win. What I mean by that is when you have squads like this and the expectations kind of rise, because Mount Olive was building their youth program, and that crop kind of came to bear. It's very easy to kind of get lost in those expectations, but they were hard line this year with everything. And that goes to the parents, the staff, the kids, especially him just guiding that ship. And Sean Smythe is my coach of the Wayne Schiele Memorial Coach of the Year. And like I said, no more willing and deserving. I know he was, a big fan of Coach Schiele, and I very much appreciate, his help with everything we've done in our time covering Morris County, and he honestly earned this and deserved this. So congratulations, Coach. Now that kind of wraps up our podcast here for a little bit. We have some little notes before we go. We are having an all-star match. The all-star match is going to be May 21st, most likely. We're trying to lock in a venue. We'll see where it kind of goes. I have a couple places that are very interested. We're also kind of playing with the format a little bit this year. Because Passaic County was covered this year, I'm kind of trying to include them a little bit in stuff. So we'll see how it goes, and try to have a little fun with it this year and see what happens. But look for some announcements on that, and bids have already been going out to wrestlers. We're obviously starting with the top guys in the area for all the counties, and want to get some of the best matchups, and just raise some money for some charity and have a little fun. But keep an eye on the site. We'll be announcing some stuff like that. The site might be down for a couple of weeks as we migrate over fully to the GardenStateHSWrestling.com with the redesign, but we want to make it fast. We want to make it easy for you guys next year. We want to make it fun and enjoyable for what you're doing. Thank you to everybody who's been a supporter this year, whether you were a team page supporter, whether you were an athletic supporter, sorry, it's a cheap joke, or whether you were a main page supporter. Like I said, Dan Warnerclough, Champion Athletes, thank you so much. Stefanelli Financial Management, who sponsored our match of the week. Anyone else who's done stuff, Jag One, Oxford Tire and Auto for Warren Hills especially, but anybody who's been a sponsor this year, thank you so much for your support. It helps, me and just kind of spread the word about wrestling. And most importantly, thank you, fans. I mean, here I am. I'm at my house talking into a camera, and I don't know if people are watching this. I don't know at the time. Jared, the podcasting legend, and I filmed this, and we have fun doing it, but we don't know if people are watching. And to be down in Atlantic City and have people I don't even know come up to me and shake my hand and say, "Hey, Don Brower, how you doing?" And they're not even in a school I cover, or they just watch the the podcast. So they see they see some of the videos we do and really enjoy it. Like Bergen County parents who I covered for Region 1, who had no idea we did this. And, we're like, oh, please, come out and do this. And, we love it. And then, other people who we reach, you don't even expect. Like my biggest happy moment about Region 1 was me being somewhat of a fan of people. Mark Consuelos from All My Children, who's Kelly Ripa's husband, buying the Region 1 tournament to watch because he's a St. Joe's fan. I mean, the little things you don't expect. So thank you so much, everybody, this year. We're not going anywhere. Some things change, but, from that becomes growth. So, I'm looking, to expand my wings, lesbian seagull. I am, looking to go into different areas. As I said, we're looking to do something with Passaic. We really enjoy covering them. Hunterdon, Warren, Sussex. We'll see if we dip into Essex. I mean, that might be making a phone call a little bit or two to Belleville. We'll see if we can get set up. But, this is not the end for GuardiansStateHSWrestling.com. This is only the beginning. And States proved that with just the great feedback we were getting from everybody. So stick with us. We will be back. We will be back. So like I said, for Jared, the podcasting legends, all the sponsors, and most importantly, my beautiful wife, who without her and her support and allowing me to stay up late and go out early, none of this would be possible. So when you see my beautiful wife, Amanda, around at State to wherever, please come over and give her a hug because she loves it. I am Donald J. Brower. We'll see you next time.